Hey everyone, it's Ivan with KidBadger.com here for part 2 of this Strawberry Mountain adventure. I don't know if you can tell, but that is not Strawberry Mountain behind me. What can I say? Got away from me again. Last night I had a bunch of wood set aside. I ended up having a nice big fire, hanging out. Got up the next morning, I was like, okay, 2.5 miles to the top, let's do this. So it was definitely cold that morning, probably in the teens, if not single digits. But I actually slept really good, in part thanks to this Wild Things happy suit, Marine Corps happy suit. Basically their like extreme cold weather gear. Thing's amazing. I ended up using the top, zipped up the jacket, put it around the bottom of my sleeping bag with my boots, they were wet. I won't even call them damp. And then I ended up wearing the pants and then wearing the Active Flex jacket, beanie, all that stuff. And I was actually really cozy. Probably the best night's sleep I've had in that cold of weather out of doors ever. So that was good. But got up that morning, ended up making some more water, melted some snow, made some oatmeal, I guess. And then I was like, let's pack up and do this. As I was packing up, two things happened. One, I noticed that the fuel in my MSR Whisperlight International fuel canister, I use gasoline because pretty much always burns and it's redundant for other things. But I noticed it was about halfway gone between making water that afternoon, evening, and then this morning. It's like, it's not good. And then the other thing that happened is I was packing stuff up and the zipper finally gave out on my waterproof OR outdoor research bag, which is basically my backpack. I put everything in there and then I just strap it to the attack pack frame. So right there I was working with those pretty significant hurdles. Mind you, neither one of those things is necessarily insurmountable. And at this point, I was already all packed up. So put on the snowshoes, started going. Made it down and essentially got to where during warmer months, it's all willow and everything like that. And looking up this giant, really steep, really deep snowfield. And that's where I called it. I tried to think of every way I could do it in my mind as far as like, okay, if I only have this much fuel, maybe I can get a fire going up top if I can find enough wood and melt snow that way for water, or maybe I can get about another 4 liters out of the fuel I have left, come down dry Friday morning and I don't know, refill my water in the creek, that first creek I get to before the other 5.5 miles or so that got tacked onto this adventure. And I kept going through these different things and I made the right decision. I was like, I'm not going to do that. In part, the second half of this is arguably the harder half of this hike. And yeah, working on 2 liters of water, already a little behind the power curve with hydration. And then the last thing I want is, I'm gonna make sure I don't drink too much water because I don't have very much fuel to melt snow. So with all that stuff and a relatively heavy heart, I turned around and headed back down the mountain. That trip down was rough. I don't know how many times I stopped and pretty much just doubled over onto those trekking poles and like rested my torso on them, just trying to take a break. That pack, I don't know, it's a little over 50 pounds or something, but for some reason it was destroying me. When I go on adventures like this, I need to bring other people. In part because it's fun to go with other people, and 2, so they can carry some of the load, because way too much stuff. But I eventually made it down. I got down to, well, real quick, I definitely got lost again. I've been up this trail a number of times. I've never been up when there's been this much snow though. And on the way up, I was actually using my watch, my Coros Vertex GPS watch. It's pretty cool because you can basically backtrack a route that you already have in there. So I was doing that, and twice on the way up, totally saved me. It starts vibrating and beeping. It's like, hey, you're off course. And I'm like, oh, all right. Because your head's down, you're just grinding along, oblivious to it. And on the way back down, I was like, I'm not gonna make the same mistake and go off course like I did. And sure enough, I did. I just went in the other direction. So I turned on my watch for a minute, brought it up, and I'm like, okay, I just need to go that way. And sure enough, there was a trail. But I ended up making it back down to the river, and it was like the evil you know or the evil you don't know, because there's two bridges there. I ended up choosing the one I'd already crossed before, even though it almost pitched me in the water, and this time went way smoother. I don't know, I'm grateful. And then almost as hard as crossing was getting up the bank on the other side. But made it up, and yeah, just ground out the miles down to here. I've decided to basically camp one more night since I have my stuff and my vehicle's, I don't know, probably 1.5 miles, 2 miles down the road. There's a cool spot here, made camp, and ultimately end up making the most of it. Even though I didn't make it up to the top of Strawberry Mountain, definitely a little bummed about it because the weather was incredible up there, like super sunny. Would have been views for days. Still, it's not wasted. Every time you get out, it's the opportunity to learn things about your gear, get reps building fires when it's below freezing, all these different little things incrementally. And you know, there's always value in experience. So I'm definitely glad I came out here. Like I said, I am going to spend the night tonight. Tomorrow I'll pack up and head out. But as always, thanks for joining us at kidbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time. Not what I want to be doing right now, but it's what I'm doing right now because it's the right thing.